Welcome to Diane's Patisserie. I'm Diane Nussbaum from Diane's Patisserie. I'm the executive pastry chef. I've been baking since 1981 in my house and started in a commercial space in 1986. So I've learned a lot along the way, and I'm hoping to share some of these beautiful French cookies with you today. I originally started baking in a French bakery, so I love many of the pastries and things that are done in French pastry shops. So today we're going to be making a puff pastry cookie called a pave, which has little ridges in it that are supposed to look like the cement markings on the street, and they're filled with raspberry jam. We have the little pig's ears or palmier, which are very popular, also made with puff pastry. We have macarons, which are made with almond sugar, and I'm going to show you how you can make your own almond sugar and your own almond flour so that you don't have to go and buy it. And then the fourth thing that we're going to make, which you'll see in a little bit, are madeleines, which are a lovely little sponge cake that is very delicious, and you do need a special mold to make them, but it's something very special. So let's get started. So in my bowl, I have 2 ounces of egg whites, and I'm going to start mixing them with a little pinch of cream of tartar, which helps the egg whites to beat much more easily and get to a good volume. I'm also going to be adding some granulated sugar to help mix up the egg white. So I put a little bit in to get them started to be beating to a really good consistency. And as they're beating, I need to keep adding the sugar. There's not very much egg white in here. This is a very small batch, so we're not going to be making too many. But while that's beating, we have ground up almonds and confectionery sugar. So this is how you make your own almond flour. You do not need to buy it. You have to just get blanched almonds, put them in your food processor, grind them very well, and then add the 1 cup of confectionery sugar. Mix that in with the almonds, grind it again. So you're grinding it 2 or 3 times to make it as fine as possible. And then you have your own almond flour, which really is a lot less expensive. I mean, the almonds are still expensive, but still less expensive than buying the almond flour. So of course, this is also a gluten-free recipe because it has no actual flour in here. So for any of your friends, and I know they're very popular in all the different flavors and colors, and you have the opportunity to use any buttercream that you like, any jam that you like when filling them. Today we're going to make some round ones, and we're going to make also some heart-shaped ones. In case you might be planning a bridal shower or a wedding anniversary, and you might want to have some specialty macarons for your special day, this is a lovely way to make them as well. So let's see how we're coming along here. Not yet. We have to wait for the egg whites to get to a very nice, smooth, and shiny egg white consistency. And then we're going to be piping them with the plain round tip on a sheet tray that has either a silk pat or something that you've sprayed and greased very well. You can use a spray, but I like using silk pats because the bake is much more even, and it's easier to clean up, and then you don't have to wash your pan either. And then I brought some pink food coloring. So you want to be able to put the smallest amount of food coloring into your mix to see what color you really want to get to. You can always add more, but once you put a lot in, and these food colors are very strong, so you don't really need a lot at all. And it's getting nice and shiny. It's going to be ready in just a minute. So if you want to make more than 1 color of macarons when you're doing your batter, all you have to do is take your egg whites that are now mixed, put them in 2 separate bowls, do some pink and maybe some blue, or pink and yellow, whatever colors you want to decorate for your special event. getting there. I think the smaller amounts take longer than even the bigger amounts. So many people have told me that they have a very hard time making macarons at home. This is really a very simple recipe and it works all the time. It's always good. I want to get it to a nice thick consistency because when you're adding the almond flour to it, it will break down the egg whites. So I have my almond flour, which I'm going to put into our beaten egg whites in a couple different times, mixing it in, getting to the bottom of the bowl, making sure that it's well mixed every time, adding some more. And once this is all mixed in, then we'll add the pink food coloring, nice and thick, and we'll add just the tiniest drop of pink, because we don't want it to be too harsh. Come on. Okay. So there's just one little tiny drop in here and you're going to see how pink it gets because this is very strong color. But we felt like having a bright and shiny day today, so it's okay. So our oven is already preheated to 350. Martha Stewart, and this recipe is adapted from her recipe. I don't do it exactly as she suggests, but she suggests lowering the oven temperature as soon as you put it in. I don't usually do that, and these cook about 12 to 15 minutes, so they seem to be fine at that temperature just the whole time. So I'm just going to get this all in the bag. And again, squeezing it down to the bottom. So we're going to make nice round circles. And when you bake them, they get what we call a little foot. They raise up and you can see like a little crunchy part at the bottom. If you want to do a heart shape, just pipe the shape that you want. But you really can pipe any shape. You can make squares, you can make hearts, you can do whatever you like. And we're going to put these in the oven for about 15 minutes. So now we're going to be making our madeleines, and this is such a lovely thing that not many people even see in this country, but people love them because they're nice little sponge cakes, delicious. So I've melted some butter, and I have 2 whole eggs in my mixer. I'm going to mix them with a half a cup of sugar. And this is called ribboning your eggs. You want to really make sure that the egg and the sugar are well combined so that you get a very light, delicious batter. This is an important part of any baking step. So whenever they tell you to beat your eggs with your sugar, make sure that you do a really thorough job of that. And that will help you have a much better product. So I'm looking to see, they want to get to like a nice lemon color. And let's see how they're doing. Oh, they're getting there. Looking good. So while they are beating, I'm gently adding the melted butter to them, a little at a time. You don't want to cook the eggs, but you do want the butter to be somewhat warm. I'm going to let that just mix for a moment. And then we're going to be adding flour with baking powder and salt. So it's 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour with a little bit of baking powder and a little bit of salt. So for this, we're not going to mix it very long. It's going to be just to combine it. So it makes kind of a pasty type batter. And there's a lot of flour along the side of the bowl, so I'm going to take it off and mix it by hand just to get it all together, nicely incorporated. And you can use your whisk or you can use your spatula. So it's amazing. We're only putting about a tablespoon in each of our madeleine molds. That's all it takes. That's all it needs. So I like to pipe it in with my pastry bag, or you can use a spoon. And I don't even have a tip on it. I'm just going to pipe it in. So you're filling it up about 3/4 of the way to each mold. And this recipe will make about 25, but we're just going to bake off one pan today. And they bake about, check them at 10 minutes, but they may bake as long as 12 to 14 minutes. Depends again on your oven. So just a little batter in each one. And it will run into the proper places. I've sprayed the pan. You can use your wrapper from your butter to grease your pan as well. But I find that using the spray is a little bit quicker, and you make sure that you get into all of the grooves. So we've done these for wedding receptions. We've done these for any kind of special party, bridal showers. It's a special treat. But as you can see, it's really not a hard batter to make. So if your family likes them, you can make them all the time. You don't have to wait for a special occasion to make these. So we're going to put these in the oven and check on them in about 10 minutes. And then we'll be taking them out and dusting them with some powdered sugar. And then we're going to make some pave and some palmier. So for the pave and palmier, we're using frozen puff pastry that you can get in your supermarket, and this uses a lot of sugar. So you're going to sugar your surface very, very well. And really kind of press it into your puff pastry, and also sugar your puff pastry. And rub it in very, very nicely. So from this half a sheet of puff pastry, we're going to make the 2 different cookies. So first we're going to do the palmier, which are like the pig's ears. And this is all about folding the puff pastry and continuing to use lots of sugar. So you want to roll it in. And we're doing little baby ones, which are very cute for, you know, a party when you have a few different things, a lot of different cookies on your plate. So you do one fold in, more sugar, one more fold to the center, pressing every time. And you can use your rolling pin to kind of press it in a little bit more. More sugar. This is not for a diabetic, but they are delicious. Also very light, you know, they're sweet, but the pastry itself is very, very delicious. And then more sugar. So this is how we cut them. And then when we're ready to put them on the tray, and we'll do that in a moment, we put them on the tray so we push the little feet out, so they'll bake that way. It's also very good to make these and put them in the refrigerator already cut like this, so that the sugar has a chance to soak into the puff pastry, and then they bake much better. But this is what they look like before they bake, and this is what they look like after they bake. And you can dip these in chocolate, always wonderful. And for the pave, which are like the cracks in the sidewalk, so for these we're making just strips of puff pastry that are all about the same width. You can do 3 strips for a smaller cookie, you can do 4 strips, you can do 5 strips. It's up to you, whatever you want. Today we're only doing 3. So again, more sugar, and we stack these one on top of another. And these are a little harder to stick together, so these are especially good if you put them in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes before you're going to bake them. And so then we start cutting these. And when we go to bake them, we stand them up on their side so that they're going to expand sideways. And they don't like to stand up, I will say that. On your way to the oven, you're going to see them falling over. But just put them back in their place. And when they're finished baking, we get these adorable little cookies, and we have put some raspberry jam inside and then a little powdered sugar on the top. So these need to bake at 400 degrees for about 15 or 20 minutes until they're really nice and golden brown. So we're going to take a slight pause right now to get things out of the oven. You'll get to see the macaroons that we just made. The madeleines should be coming out very shortly. Today we did our marathon baking of French cookies. We did our palmier, that are the little pig's ears. We did our pave, that are filled with raspberry jam. We did our madeleines, which are the lovely little sponge cakes with some powdered sugar. And then a variety of different colored macarons and with different flavors inside. And we also piped a very sweet heart-shaped macaron if you're doing a bridal shower, a baby shower, any shower. They're lovely. So I hope you enjoyed all of the different types of cookies that we did today. And very simple to do most of them at home. You do need a special mold for the madeleines, but other than that, you can pipe everything out. I hope you enjoyed our presentation for today. I'm Diane from Diane's Patisserie. Call me, let me know how you're doing. If you have questions, 609-502-4073, 609-560-4111. And I love to hear from you. Have a great day. Thanks so much.